There is something going out in the mail from Social Security on December 26th for all beneficiaries, and this directly impacts your money, your benefits, and your finances in ways you might not even realize yet. I'm talking about 75 million people who are going to be receiving this critical document in their mailboxes starting in just a couple of days. And I need you to understand exactly what this is, why it matters so much, what it means for your financial future, and what you need to do with it the moment it arrives at your doorstep. Hey everyone, it's Matt here at USA Seniors Alert. For those of you who are new to this channel, welcome. I've spent years helping people navigate the complex world of Social Security, Medicare, disability benefits, retirement planning, and everything in between. I've personally helped thousands of families understand their rights, decode confusing government paperwork, fight for benefits they deserve, and make sure they're not leaving money on the table. When I tell you something matters, it's because I've seen firsthand what happens when people miss important details. I've watched people lose out on thousands of dollars simply because they didn't understand a single form. I've seen families struggle because they threw away documentation they thought was junk mail. And today's topic, this is one of those details you absolutely cannot afford to miss, especially because this document could be directly connected to that $2,000 stimulus payment we keep hearing about from the president and his administration. Yes, I'm going to connect those dots for you in just a few minutes, and I promise you're going to understand exactly why keeping this document safe could be the difference between getting that money or watching it pass you by. Here's what we're going to walk through together in this video, and I want you to stay with me until the very end, because the information at the conclusion could literally put money in your pocket. First, I'm going to show you exactly what document is being mailed out on December 26th to all 75 million Social Security beneficiaries across this country. Then I'm going to give you 5 critical reasons why you need this document and why you absolutely cannot just toss it in the trash like it's another piece of junk mail. Third, I'm going to connect this directly to the $2,000 stimulus payment situation that's been dominating the news and explain why having this document organized and accessible could be the difference between getting that money quickly or not getting it at all or getting it months later than everyone else. Fourth, I'll walk you through some real-world scenarios where this document becomes absolutely essential, situations you might find yourself in throughout 2026, where having this paper readily available saves you time, stress, and potentially money. And finally, I'll give you specific step-by-step action items for what to do the moment this hits your mailbox, how to verify it's correct, where to store it, and how to use it strategically. Okay, so here's what's happening, and I want you to pay very close attention because this affects every single person watching this video who receives any kind of Social Security benefit. Starting December 26th, the Social Security Administration is mailing out tax documentation to every single beneficiary in their system. If you live in the United States, you're getting an SSA 1099 form. If you live overseas or outside the country, you're getting an SSA 1042S form, which serves the same purpose but is designed for international recipients. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, wait a minute, Matt, I don't file taxes. I haven't filed a tax return in 5 years, maybe 10 years. Why do I care about a tax form? This doesn't apply to me. I'm throwing this in the garbage the second it arrives. Stop right there. Do not throw this away. Do not let it sit in a pile of mail. Do not ignore it thinking it doesn't concern you. I'm going to give you 5 comprehensive reasons why this document is absolutely critical. And I'll tell you right now, even if you never file a tax return, even if your income is so low you're not required to file, even if you haven't thought about taxes in years, this affects you. This matters. This could directly impact your financial situation in 2026. Let me be extremely specific about who needs to pay attention to this information, because I don't want anyone thinking, oh, this doesn't apply to my situation. If you fall into any of these categories, you need to watch for this document. Retirement beneficiaries. If you're collecting Social Security retirement benefits, whether you started at age 62, whether you waited until 70, whether you're getting spousal benefits or your own work record, You're getting this form. That's about 52 million people right there. That's more than the population of many countries, and every single one of those people needs this documentation. Social Security disability insurance recipients. If you're on SSDI because of a disability that prevents you from working, this is coming to you. Roughly 9 million disabled workers need to watch for this document in their mailboxes. Your benefits are considered income for certain purposes, and this form documents exactly what you received. Supplemental Security Income recipients, SSI beneficiaries, you're included too, and I know some of you are thinking, but Matt, SSI isn't taxable. It's a needs-based program. Why would I get a tax form? Even though SSI is technically not taxable income, you still need this document for other purposes I'm going to explain. Don't dismiss it just because your benefits aren't taxed. Survivor benefit recipients, widows, widowers, children receiving benefits from a deceased parent, you're getting this form. If you're living on benefits from someone who passed away, Social Security is sending you documentation of exactly what you received in 2025. Veterans receiving Social Security. If you get both VA benefits and Social Security benefits, you need this form for the Social Security portion. Your VA benefits are separate and documented differently, but your Social Security income needs to be tracked, and this is how it's done. And here's a really big one that affects hundreds of thousands of people. Anyone who received back pay from the Social Security Fairness Act. If you were one of the fortunate beneficiaries who got that lump sum payment and saw your monthly benefits increase in 2025 because of the Fairness Act, which eliminated the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset for many people, you absolutely need to see this form. Why? Because you might have significant tax liability on your hands that you're not even aware of yet. That back pay, which could have been anywhere from a few $1,000s to $50,000 or more, depending on how long you were affected, that's income. That's documented income. And for some of you, it might push you into a situation where you need to file a tax return this year, even if you haven't filed in decades. Bottom line, if Social Security paid you even $1 in benefits during the calendar year 2025, you're getting this document. There are no exceptions. There are no exemptions. Everyone gets it. Now, let me break down exactly why this matters and why you need to keep this document in a safe, accessible place for the entire year ahead. I'm going to give you 5 reasons, and I want you to understand that each of these could directly affect your financial well-being. Reason number 1, this form shows your exact benefit amount. This SSA 1099 form shows the precise exact amount of money that Social Security paid you in benefits during the entire year of 2025. It's not an estimate. It's not a rough calculation. It's the actual dollar amount that went into your bank account or arrived in your mailbox as a check month after month throughout the year. Now, here's what most people don't realize, and this is critical. This information isn't just being sent to you. Social Security is also furnishing this exact same information, these exact same numbers, directly to the Internal Revenue Service. Why does that matter? Because if there's a mistake on this form, if it says Social Security paid you significantly more than they actually did, the IRS is going to come knocking at your door wanting taxes on money you never even received. Or conversely, if it shows less than you actually got, and you use that number for some benefit application, you could be accused of providing false information. Now, let me be absolutely clear here. It's highly unlikely that Social Security made a mistake. These systems are computerized, they're sophisticated, they're generally pretty accurate, but mistakes do happen sometimes. Database errors occur, computer glitches happen. Someone's benefits get suspended and reinstated, and the calculations get complicated. When you get this form, I need you to take 5 minutes and scan through it carefully. Verify that the amount listed is accurate. If you received roughly $1,500 per month for all 12 months of 2025, that form should show somewhere around $18,000, give or take, depending on the cost of living adjustment that kicked in partway through the year. If you see a number that seems wildly wrong, if it says you received $50,000 when you know you only got $20,000, you need to get on the phone with Social Security immediately. Don't wait. Don't assume it'll sort itself out. Get it corrected before that information sits in the IRS database and causes you problems down the road. Reason number 2, this is your official legal proof of income. Let me give you some real-world scenarios where you might need this document, situations that happen to Social Security beneficiaries every single day across this country. Let's say you're trying to buy a car in 2026. Maybe your old vehicle finally gave up and you need reliable transportation. You go to the dealership, you find something affordable, and you want to finance it. The dealership or the bank is going to ask you, what's your income? Prove to us that you can make these monthly payments. You whip out your SSA 1099 and show them exactly what you receive from Social Security. That's your proof. That's your documentation. That's what gets you approved. Maybe you're applying for housing assistance. Perhaps you need help with your rent, or you're trying to get into subsidized senior housing, or you're applying for a Section 8 voucher. They're going to ask you to prove your income. They need documentation. You can't just tell them, oh, I get about $1,400 a month from Social Security. They need official paperwork. This is that paperwork. Perhaps you're trying to qualify for energy assistance to help pay your heating bills in the winter or your cooling costs in the summer. Maybe you're applying for food stamps, now called SNAP benefits, because your Social Security just isn't stretching far enough. Maybe you're trying to get help through a local charity or a church program that has income requirements. All of these programs, every single one of them, they're going to ask for proof of income. This SSA 1099 is your golden ticket. This is the document that proves your income qualifies you for help. For widowed mothers and fathers living on survivor benefits, trying to make ends meet and raise children on limited income, this document proves you need assistance. For veterans trying to access additional programs beyond your VA benefits, this shows your complete financial picture. For disabled individuals applying for state assistance programs, for energy credits, for property tax relief, for any number of programs designed to help people on fixed incomes, this document is your proof that your income qualifies you for help. Reason number 3, you need this if you file a tax return. Now, I know millions of Social Security beneficiaries don't file tax returns because their income is below the filing threshold. If Social Security is your only income and you're single, you generally don't need to file. But here's the reality. Millions of Social Security beneficiaries do file tax returns every single year. Why? Because they have other income sources. Maybe you have a pension from a job you retired from. Maybe you're still working part-time and earning some income. Maybe you have investment income from stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. Maybe you own rental property and collect rent. Maybe you withdrew money from a retirement account. Maybe you sold some assets. If you're one of those people who files a tax return combining your Social Security benefits with other income, you absolutely need this document to get the accurate dollar amount of your Social Security benefits for the year. Your tax preparer, if you use one, is going to ask for it. They're going to say, I need your SSA 1099. Tax software, if you prepare your own return using programs like TurboTax or H&R Block, it's going to prompt you for this information. There's literally a screen that says, enter your Social Security benefits from Form SSA 1099. You cannot complete your return accurately without it. Even if you've never filed a tax return before, but you had a big change in 2025, you might need to file this year. Maybe you sold a house and had a capital gain. Maybe you cashed out a retirement account to pay for something. Maybe you received that Social Security Fairness Act back pay I mentioned earlier. Any of these situations could create a filing requirement, and if you need to file, you need this form. Reason number 4, critical for Fairness Act recipients. This is absolutely huge for a specific group of people, and if this is you, I need you to listen very carefully. If you were one of the beneficiaries who received a large lump sum payment in 2025 because of the passage of the Social Security Fairness Act, first of all, congratulations. That legislation corrected an injustice that affected millions of public servants for decades. But second, you need to understand that lump sum payment could create substantial tax liability for you. The SSA 1099 is going to show exactly how much you received, both in ongoing monthly benefits and in that lump sum back pay. And that information is absolutely critical for determining whether you owe taxes on that money. Many people who got those back paychecks, amounts ranging from $10,000 to $30,000 to $50,000, or even more in some cases, might be genuinely surprised when they realize some of that is taxable income. This isn't something to panic about, but it is definitely something you need to be aware of. Social Security benefits become taxable when your combined income, which includes half of your Social Security benefits plus all your other income, exceeds certain thresholds. For many people, their regular monthly benefits kept them below those thresholds. But when you add a large lump sum into the equation, suddenly you're over the limit, and a portion of your benefits becomes taxable. Look at that form carefully when it arrives. If you received a substantial lump sum payment, I strongly encourage you to talk to a tax professional about your situation. Don't just assume everything's fine. Don't wait until April when you're scrambling to file your return. Talk to someone now in January or February so you understand what you might owe and can prepare for it. Reason number 5, connection to the $2,000 stimulus payment. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the topic that's been dominating conversations, the $2,000 stimulus check that the president and his administration keep mentioning. First, let me be crystal clear about something, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this or hype you up with false promises. We do not know with absolute certainty if this is actually going to happen. The president continues to say publicly that it's going to happen. His advisors keep saying it's going to happen. There's talk about it in policy circles. But there's also skepticism out there from economists, from budget analysts, from various political sources, and most importantly, we simply don't have concrete legislation yet. There's no bill that's been passed. There's no law that's been signed. I'm not here to tell you it's definitely happening. I'm not here to tell you it's definitely not happening. I have to take the word of the president and the administration, who keep coming back repeatedly and saying this is going to happen. So maybe it will. We just don't know for certain, and I refuse to make promises about things I can't control. But here's what I do know with absolute certainty. If you want to be in a position to receive that money quickly and easily if it does happen, if you want to be first in line, if you want to make sure you don't get overlooked or delayed, you need this document. Let me explain my thinking here, and this comes from years of experience watching how these programs roll out. When it comes to the distribution of money in the form of a stimulus payment, a rebate, a relief check, an advance on a refundable tax credit, whatever terminology they want to use, there are always rules and parameters. Always. Sometimes you need to prove your income falls below a certain threshold. Sometimes you need to meet certain eligibility criteria. Sometimes you need to verify your age or your status. And in weird rogue situations, they might even require you to file a tax return to receive the payment, even if you normally wouldn't file. Now, generally speaking, and I've said this in many videos before, it's not about filing a tax return when it comes to stimulus payments. It's about your income level. I still stand by that 100%. It should be about your income, not about whether you filed paperwork. Social Security beneficiaries should automatically qualify and receive payments based on their existing records with the Social Security Administration. But here's my disclaimer, and this is important. If, for some strange reason, they decide you need to file a tax return in order to claim and receive this $2,000 payment, then you absolutely need this tax documentation to do that. If someone typically doesn't file a tax return and their income would show as zero or very low on paper, then fine, we file a simple return to get the payment. And this SSA 1099 gives us the accurate numbers we need to input. It shows our income officially. Again, I don't foresee that being the case. I think it's more likely they'll use existing Social Security records. But if they do require filing, we need to be prepared. We need to have our documentation ready. Here's what I really want you to understand, and this is the core message. As a fixed income beneficiary living on Social Security, by default, your income is almost certainly below whatever income thresholds they would put in place to make someone eligible for a $2,000 stimulus payment. Think about it. If you're living on $1,500 a month from Social Security retirement benefits, your annual income is $18,000. If you're on SSI at the current rate of $943 a month, Your annual income is about $11,316. If you're on SSDI, getting the average benefit of about $1,537 per month, that's roughly $18,444 per year. These are not high incomes. You are not wealthy. You're living on limited, fixed income that barely keeps up with inflation. You are going to be well below any reasonable income threshold they might set for stimulus eligibility. And this SSA 1099 form, this piece of paper they're mailing out on December 26th, this is your proof. This is your official document that says, look, this is my income. This is what I live on. I'm way below any threshold. I qualify for help. I need this assistance. You need to have proof. You need to have documentation ready to go. This is it. This is your evidence. This is what positions you to receive money quickly if they decide to send it. Okay, so let's talk about exactly what you do when this document shows up at your home. You're going to receive it one of two ways, and you should be aware of both options. Option 1 is the electronic version through your My Social Security account. If you have an online account set up at SSA.gov, and if you don't, you should really consider creating one. You can access your SSA 1099 electronically, usually before the paper version even arrives in your mailbox. This is actually the fastest way to get it. You can log in, download it, print it if you want, and have it ready to go immediately. Option 2 is the physical paper version delivered directly to your mailbox by the U.S. Postal Service. This will arrive sometime after December 26th. For most people, it's going to show up in January 2026, probably in the first couple of weeks. The exact timing depends on where you live and how quickly the mail moves in your area. Here's your step-by-step action plan, and I want you to commit to following this because it's going to save you time, stress, and potentially money down the road. Step 1. Open it immediately. Do not let this sit in a pile of mail on your kitchen counter. Do not ignore it thinking you'll deal with it later. Do not set it aside with other mail you're planning to sort through eventually. Open it the day it arrives. Take 2 minutes and open the envelope. Step 2. Scan through it and verify accuracy. Look at the total benefit amount listed for 2025. Does it match what you expected? Think about what you received each month. Multiply that by 12 months, adjusting for any cost of living increase that kicked in. If you received roughly $1,500 per month all year, it should show around $18,000. If the numbers look wildly wrong, if something seems off, if you see an amount that doesn't make sense, call Social Security immediately. Don't wait a week. Don't wait a month. Call them right away and get it corrected. The number is 1-800-772-1213. Step 3. File it somewhere safe. And I mean actually safe, not I'll deal with it later safe. Not I'll put it somewhere I'll remember safe. Actually safe. Here's the thing. We all have a safe place for important documents. It could be a drawer in your kitchen that's designated for important papers. It could be a filing cabinet in your home office. It could be a folder in your desk. It could even be a shoebox in your closet that you use for important documents. Wherever you keep birth certificates, marriage licenses, the deed to your house, insurance papers, medical records, that's where this goes. Put it with the documents that matter. Treat it with the same respect you treat your passport or your birth certificate. Step 4. Keep it for the entire year. Do not throw this away in February thinking tax season is over. Do not lose it in April. Do not let it get buried under other papers. Keep it through all of 2026 because you never know when you're going to need to prove your income. Whether it's for that $2,000 stimulus that might come in March or June or September, we don't know. Whether it's for applying for heating assistance next winter. Whether it's for getting a loan. Whether it's for qualifying for Medicare savings programs or extra help with prescription drug costs. You need this document accessible throughout the entire year. Step 5. If you file taxes, give this to your tax preparer or input it into your tax software. If you work with a CPA or a tax preparation service, hand them this form when you go in for your appointment. If you use tax software to prepare your own return, keep this form next to you while you're working on your computer so you can enter the information accurately. If you don't file taxes, that's perfectly fine, but still keep it safe in case rules change or you need it for the stimulus payment or any other benefit program that asks for income verification. Let me be very straight with you about the $2,000 payment situation because I don't want to give you false hope, but I also don't want you to be unprepared if it actually happens. We don't know the specific rules yet. We don't know the exact parameters. We don't know the income thresholds they'll set. We don't know the eligibility requirements beyond income. We don't know if you'll need to file a return or take any action. We don't know the timeline for when payments would be sent. We literally don't know anything concrete and official because no legislation has been passed yet. What we do know is that the president has mentioned this payment multiple times since November. We know his administration keeps saying it's coming. We know there's serious talk about it in Washington. But here's my philosophy, the approach I want you to take. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Position yourself to receive money easily and quickly if they decide to send it. Don't get caught scrambling for documentation you threw away thinking it was junk mail. Don't be the person who misses out on a payment because you weren't prepared, because you didn't have your paperwork organized, because you couldn't prove your income. If they want to give us money, if the government decides to send financial relief to Social Security beneficiaries, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to position myself to get that money as fast as possible. And I want to do the exact same thing for you, for this entire community of people watching these videos. Get yourself in position to receive money fast and easily. Get your documentation organized. Get your paperwork accessible. This document puts you in that position. This form is your ticket to being ready. Now, quick disclaimer as always, and I have to say this. This is not tax advice. This is not accounting advice. This is not professional financial or legal advice in any way, shape, or form. I am not your accountant. I am not your CPA. I am not your financial advisor. You should talk to your own professional about your specific tax situation and financial circumstances. That's not me. But what I can tell you, based on years of experience helping people navigate these systems, based on watching countless situations unfold, is that being prepared matters tremendously. Having documentation matters. Knowing what's coming in the mail and understanding why it's important matters. Being organized matters. Being ready matters. Before we wrap up, I do want to mention a few pieces of genuinely good news for Social Security beneficiaries going into 2025 because it's not all complicated tax forms and uncertainty. There have been some positive changes. The 2025 cost of living adjustment was 2.5%, which means your benefits increased starting in January. For the average retiree, that's about $48 more per month. It might not sound like a fortune, but over the course of a year, that's nearly $600 in additional income. The Medicare Part D out-of-pocket cap dropped dramatically from $8,000 down to just $2,000 in 2025. If you're someone taking expensive medications, if you have chronic conditions that require costly prescriptions, this change is potentially life-changing. You're protected from catastrophic drug costs in a way you weren't before. The earnings limit went up for people who work while collecting benefits. If you're under full retirement age and you're working part-time or running a small business, you can now earn up to $23,400 in 2025 without losing any benefits. That's a significant increase that gives you more flexibility to supplement your Social Security income with work. And for those who benefited from the Social Security Fairness Act, you saw a substantial increase in your monthly payment, plus you may have received back pay going back years. That's money you earned through your work. That's money you deserved. That legislation corrected an unfair penalty that affected police officers, firefighters, teachers, and other public servants for decades. Look, I know navigating Social Security feels overwhelming sometimes. I know you're tired of confusing forms and uncertain situations. I know you just want clear, straightforward answers about money that's rightfully yours. But here's what I need you to remember. Being informed is your superpower. Knowledge is power. Understanding what's coming, why it matters, and what to do about it puts you in control of your financial situation instead of being at the mercy of systems you don't understand. You're not going to throw this SSA 1099 form away without thinking about it. You're not going to ignore it. You're here watching this video, which tells me you're someone who takes action. You're someone who seeks out information. You're someone who wants to be prepared. You're someone who's going to be ready when opportunity knocks. So when that SSA 1099 arrives in your mailbox after December 26th, you're going to know exactly what to do with it. You're going to open it immediately. You're going to verify it's accurate by checking the numbers against what you received throughout the year. You're going to file it somewhere safe where you can find it easily. And you're going to have it ready for whatever comes next. Whether that's filing taxes in the spring, whether that's applying for benefit programs throughout the year, whether that's proving your income for a loan or assistance program, or yes, whether that's potentially claiming that $2,000 stimulus payment if it actually happens, you're going to be ready. You're going to be prepared. You're going to be positioned to get what you're entitled to without delays, without confusion, without problems. If this video helped you understand what's coming in the mail and why it matters so much, please hit that subscribe button right down below. It's 100% free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it means you won't miss important updates like this. When there's news about that stimulus payment, when there are changes to Social Security, when there are programs that can help you, I'll be here breaking it down in plain language you can understand. Please share this video with other Social Security beneficiaries in your life. Share it with your friends, your family members, your neighbors, people at your senior center, members of your church. We're talking about 75 million people who need to know about this document. Help me get this information out there by hitting that share button and sending this to people who need to see it. Drop a comment below and let me know. Did you know about the SSA 1099 form before watching this video? Are you going to keep it safe this year? Are you hopeful about the $2,000 stimulus payment? What questions do you still have? I read every single comment, and I often make videos based on your questions and feedback. Your input helps me create content that actually helps people. And check out the other videos I've linked in the description about Social Security benefits, stimulus payment updates, Medicare savings programs, and other programs that can help you stretch your income further. There's so much information available that can help you. There are programs you might not even know exist. There's money you might be leaving on the table. Knowledge is power, and I want to empower you with every piece of information that can improve your financial situation. Remember, this is your income. This is your documentation. This is your proof. This is your ticket to being prepared for whatever comes next. Keep it safe. Stay informed. Position yourself for every opportunity to improve your financial situation. Happy holidays to you and yours. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next video.